play of the game from way down.
Two, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bomb's going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bombstastic gonna find Rainer.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus gaming series. I need you to do me just a small favor. Let me know if there's any break in my microphone or anything, as I've made some adjustments. But welcome. It's a DivC-East matchup. I'm Arrow. I'm your host tonight. Let's see. It looks like... I think we got everybody ready. But anyways, we're going to see a matchup between Zirconium League and Scalding Sweat Cult. SSC. So let's hop right into it. Take a look at what we've got going on with these teams. So this is the first week. So neither of these teams have played, which means they have no points. So let the standings kind of, you know, just take it with a grain of salt, or take it with a barking dog, you know, whatever. But Zirconium League, formerly known as, or at least mostly, would tap that. And it looks like some familiar names here on Scalding Sweat Cult, but overall, looks to be a fairly new team. Now, as far as our maps here, let's find out who picked this. Looks like it was blue. Okay, so our maps tonight. Zirconium League, they banned out the Sky Temple and Dragonshire. Scalding Sweat Cult banned out Alterac Pass and Infernal Shrines. And our first game is going to take place on Braxis Holdout. It was the selection of Zirconium League, so we'll be getting started here soon. TM. Welcome Mark Zombie here to cheer on Zirconium League. Recognize most of these names. Both of the teams have some new names on them, though. Definitely some roster shifts on the side of Zirconium League and their new team here. But of course, some familiar names as well. So speaking of which, let me go ahead and get their names entered in here. How's everybody doing tonight? It's Saturday night. Did you remember it was Saturday night? I thought yesterday was Saturday, honestly. Most of the day I was just going, meh. A lot of the country is opening up, with limitations, of course. Apparently we're talking about chromatic keyboards, which I guess technically I have one. I don't really ever use the lights, but whatever. But yeah, this whole coronavirus thing with the isolation has really made it difficult to remember what day of the week it is. Which is a little strange to say, because this is no different than I've ever done. I've always worked from home and pretty much stayed at home, right? I didn't go out and do things, but for the most part, it's just at home. But because everybody else is also doing it, nobody knows what day it is. It's crazy. 8-Bit here to root for Arrow. Well, you know what? That's fair, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you, 8-Bit. I think I moved my camera a little bit. See if I can adjust this just slightly without it. Good enough. Now you can see the microphone. Oh well. So is the microphone doing okay? Is it too loud? Is it about the right consistency? It's not like chopping out. Did you hear the dog earlier? Give me some feedback. One. Right? You know what? I've been practicing for COVID-19 for the last, I mean, definitely since I moved here, the last 3 years. Here, I thought, okay, so it turns out that they're waiting on me. I didn't know that they made me the host, so there you go. Awesome, thanks 8-Bit, I appreciate it. Heard doggo, okay. You know what, good point, Ace, good point. Don't want that feedback. Let's see, do I have something I can put up over the chat? Oh, let's see. I could put up a co-caster, that's not gonna get us much. Alpha? There we go! Welcome Alpha to the stream, everybody! Alpha is here to make sure that our chat window is safe and that there are no problems coming out. Alright, so Brax's Outpost, we are going to start it off with a Brawly map. It's a 2-lane map. Rexar, a hero that gets significant value up in that top lane, holding that solo point very easily, and Sylvanas, a hero that allows you to push. You know what? You can have a half wave and still get more value than a full wave if you got Sylvanas. But not today, says Zirconium League. Deathwing gonna be the second ban here. Still seeing a fair amount of Deathwing bans. Given that he's been out now for 3-4 months, he doesn't get picked all the time. What are we effing for in chat? For the chat? APOG. Okay. But Kael'Thas is going to be the next ban here. And so Zool, left on the table. Zool getting a rework. I guess not a rework. Zool getting some love. Zool's feeling a little bit better about his day-to-day life. Okay, so we're going right into the Probius. Probius, a hero that Tlem's played a significant amount of in Season 8 of Nexus Gaming Series. And not a big surprise to see it here on the first game of the season. We'll see if this newly branded team is able to make use of the Probius. Now, oftentimes people see Probius in the off lane, but this is a Probius in the main lane. He's going to be popping off with those warp rifts and his Q. I don't remember what his Q's called. I don't know. But it's going to be Jaina going to be taken out here next. So we do have a significant number of roots here on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. We've got the Zool, we got the Annual, we got Condemn and a Blessed Shield. Potentially we could see the Light Bomb Falling Sword combo. Mal'Ganis is going to be the final ban of the game here for Scalding Sweat Cult. And that's a really good ban. Mal'Ganis with those sleeps could set up Leoric Entombs, could set up the Probius Warp Rifts. And the thing that you have to know about the Probius here is that there is never a safe bush. Whatever you are doing, whenever you must check every bush that you go through, or you will get Control-Alt deleted from the game. And it doesn't matter whether you're a tank, whether you're somebody with an ice block, for example. You would need to have some amazing reflexes. And Chromie could just be the answer to that, right? Because Chromie can throw out those sandblasts. It doesn't cost her a whole lot, especially if she takes that level 11 talent that gives her the additional regeneration and movement speed. Just Key says, please be the only game Tlems, actually he says thems, will play Probius this season. And it could be. If this goes the same way that the Would Tap That first series went, I expect that teams will react differently than they did last season. But hey, who knows? Expectations and all that. Let's see, do I have enough time to put up a poll? I might. Let me see. Manage poll. I don't want to watch party. Manage poll. Here we go. New poll. Who wins game number 1? Let's see. 2 minutes should be plenty of time. Who do you think is going to win game number 1? Is it going to be Zirconium League on the left here with the Probius leading the charge? Or is it going to be Scalding Sweat Cult? Chromie bringing it in with the Sandblast, and Zool going to be that offlaner going up against the Leoric. We'll have to find out, but vote in chat now. Hit the drop down at the top right of your screen. Select which team you think will win, and then hit vote. If you don't hit vote, it's like getting a mail-in ballot and never sending it in. But let's get on to the game, shall we? On the left, we have Zirconium League. It's going to be Shadonis playing the Leoric, Dead on the ETC, Umbob on Malfurion, a Weathervane on Tychus, and Tlems on Probius. Also, let's pause this. So we'll come back and invite. We'll do all these invitations again in a second. Oh man! So it turns out that Brax's Outpost is not Brax's Holdout. Who knew? Who knew? Ah, crap, now I just rejoined the game. Ah! Not my fault. Don't look at me. Now, the fact that I rejoined the game, that's my fault. Oh, and now the game crashed. Okay, so we'll be back in just a second. Hopefully we can get this back up quickly here. Fun times in Heroes of the Storm. Well, it looks like everybody voting here says Scalding Sweat Cult with 63% of the votes. Welcome, Move 37. Move 37, I don't know if you know this or not, but the number 37 is my favorite. Just throwing that out there. Listen, I didn't do it. I showed up. Everybody was there, and then they invited me. So there you go. Hey, you know what, guys? Did you know that NGS has a Patreon? I bet you didn't. All right, we're gonna go back into this. We're gonna watch this draft on Brax's Holdout. Ah, surprise, everybody! Hey, DB Smiley, thanks for the subscription, much appreciated. Whatever. As long as they get them in the thing there, so be it. See, perfect. See, Alpha saving the day. Now you guys don't get the now you don't see all the crazy swearing in chat, which has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but at least it's not there. Hey, look, it's Leoric and Probius. Ah, surprise, surprise. So what do you think, guys? Is it gonna be the Light Bomb Falling Sword? I think it could be. I think the Light Bomb Falling Sword onto a Probius, maybe that's how you get what you need out of that Probius if you're Scalding Sweat Cult. Let's see, Viper Band, Alganus. So yeah, fun times, everybody. Up here in the Nexus Gaming series, reminding everybody what they played, what they banned, So there you go. We'll be ready to go in just a moment, where we'll get to introduce our teams once again. You want the meme? What meme do you want? You want the Probius meme? Just ride it all the way to the end of the season? And then have it banned out and lose the game? I think that's what happened, if I remember correctly. I think that they got to the Coastal Finals, maybe? I don't remember. But here we go. It's game time. I'm not going to put up another vote. We already did that. Scalding Sweat Cult is what the people have chosen. Hey, Ronan with the Murda Globes. If you guys haven't followed Murda, make sure you do so. Murda's going to be doing a lot more streaming, just in general, playing some HOTS, playing some Hearthstone, playing some Teamfight Tactics, playing random games that he likes to play. But Murda, the founder of Regen, fantastic guy. And, you know, he could use some people watching him play some video games. But it's time for game number 1. Let's try this again, shall we? On the left, we have Zirconium League. We got Dead on ETC, Tlems on Probius, Bob on the Malfurion, a Weathervane, gonna be played by playing Tychus, and Shadonus on Leoric. And over here to the right, we got Broomboy playing Johanna, Viper on the Anduin, Broom G on the Chromie, Nubaka on the Rainer, and Zool gonna be played by Kroga. Kroga? I think it's Kroga, yeah. Of important note, look at all these green army horses. Got some synergy there. Although I am disappointed that Rainer didn't go green army Rainer, but you know, it is what it is. Such is life. Let's take a look at talents. We've got the Hold Your Ground from Johanna. Is it Backlash? Yeah, Backlash for Zool there. Getting that % damage, that'll help him to get some damage onto the Leoric. But this is going to be interesting to watch here. So Leoric can just Wraith Walk out of that if he cares. But it's going to be interesting to see how Zool performs against the Leoric. Since Leoric can pretty much ignore Zool's player abilities, at least aside from his cleave, but Zool gets a massive value in the wave clear, so we'll see how that goes. He's going to have to play that probably a little bit differently than some other heroes. He's not going to be able to rotate around. ETC's going to get that power slide onto Johanna. There's that shield, the Iron Skin to give her the unstoppable. Team Broom says Smelly Yelly. Fair enough. Some of these other talents here, so the Warp Rift talent, Warp Resonance, that's going to give an additional Warp Rift, but also additional damage, and you don't want to be in that puddle of Warp Rifts when it explodes. Going to be the Regrowth talent, Rejuvenation, just a little bit of triggering of Repsychic out there if you're watching. No, actually not Repsychic, that's Lulu that doesn't like that, right? Oh, and we have a pause. We'll be right back to the action in a moment. Some of the others, the other talents here, Consume Vitality coming out from Leoric so that he can get that additional healing anytime he hits an enemy hero. Also reduces the cooldown. Let's actually see on this. Oh, we have a DC. Okay. What else do we have? Tychus going into dash, so he's going to have that additional movement speed and the short jump. Yeah, I agree. Ace in the short term for sure. Now in the long term, we'll see how that turns out. As far as the Zool versus Leoric. Ace in the hole there for Rainer and Chromie. Once again, the first time bold strategy out of the Anduin. Just letting the teams know that I don't pay attention to their chat so they can say whatever the heck they want. That's true. It's specifically because of the fact that Rejuvenation is a Warcraft Druid heal, which actually acts like Regrowth does. Go figure. All right. Starting it back up. And here we go. And I managed to latch on to ETC. Let's go back down into the bot. So we can see here Zool's minions are going to get value onto the wall, and it's very easy for him to clear those and get extra push. But in the bottom, the Chastise narrowly missing as the power slide coming out from ETC, keeping him safe. And it is important to note, Johanna has a little bit more health than ETC because he's got that 25 armor. She also has an unstoppable shield, so there's a little bit more burden of execution on the Malfurion than, say, for example, the Anduin to keep that going. But we are going to get a successful camp invade from Scalding Sweat Cult. Yeah, see, there you go. Let's go ahead and turn the chat back off. So 10% on the channel so far for Scalding Sweat Cult, as with that camp, they're going to get a little bit of value onto the towers. And those minions just going away. That Warp Rift able to pretty well take them out in one shot. We're going to have Strangling Vines reducing the healing potential when a hero's rooted. And you know, I think, the more I think about this, I think it's going to be the Light Bomb Falling Sword. There's that root, 40% healing reduction. Broom Boy getting the Leap of Faith pull right on out of danger there. Zool going to get the root onto Leoric as he's clearing the lane, and Zool gonna try to get the pause button here, but it's not gonna last very long. He's got to pull away. He doesn't have a lot of health, doesn't have hardly any mana, probably doesn't even have enough mana for more than one ability there. But they are able to pick up the bot lane control point here. Chromie with the time trap there, saving the Johanna, because if that stun lands, I think Johanna finds her way to be the first blood of this game. But not yet. Channel beginning once again for Zirconium League. Let's check in on the top lane here. Check in on these guys. Shadonis and Zool both heading back for a tap. Broomboy coming in, has the Iron Skin, is going to use that there. And Tychus might fall. Was just one more hit would have done it, but not quite there. Broomboy, however, getting very low. 225. Oh, and the grenade from Tychus. And it's first blood going over to Zirconium League. And keep in mind here, we're sitting at 10 stacks of the Warp Resonance. At 20 is when he's going to get that extra rift. Before then, he's now got that bonus to damage. So we're going to see that power spike here soon. Zool going into the skeletons. So sitting at 32 so far on that. Now that's basically just spawning skeletons. It's pretty much the easiest thing you can do as Zool, right? But this ability, you didn't see this a lot before the changes, right? So when the skeletons now, when they spawn, if he roots on somebody, they're gonna focus on that target. Actually, I think they did that before. And Zool's gonna go down. But anyways, they're gonna get additional attack and movement speed, so can really focus down a hero. We're gonna see the subdue talent there from Johanna. Best talent in the game, IMO. Always feels good when you get that completed. So we got top lane fort here slowly getting lower. Now, Umbob may fall to the fort, in fact, as he does. The damage coming out from the structures, keep in mind now, does increase over time. Each hit from a structure reduces armor by 10. And it will prioritize you if you hit one of the enemy heroes. So, solid defense coming out from Scalding Sweat Cult, able to just barely save their fort with a few hundred hit points there. But they keep their structure alive. It's going to be a little bit harder to fall back there, as we see the solo lane switching to the bottom. And Zirconium League now working on their bruiser camp here. Going to send that out. Johanna and Raynor, along with Chromie, doing the same except with their siege camp. So that'll help them defend a little bit. But pretty sure that this top fort is going to be taken away. And by pretty sure, I mean not sure at all, because it looks like they're going to go ahead and rotate out. Zirconium League's going to head down to the bot lane, pick up the siege camp. Kind of surprised we didn't see them maybe focus on a rotation in onto Zool. Like, if they had come right here, they probably could have gotten that Zool there. The root followed up with a Probius bomb, and then they go back and get that siege camp. And you see there, Scalding Sweat Cult, they were ready to go. They said, hey, you know what? We haven't seen them in a while. Where are they likely to be? They're probably on that siege camp. But that said, Zool being pretty far up here too, right? Paying attention to what's going on the map. And nearly complete are both Zool and Probius. Chromie's still sitting about a little bit over halfway, roughly about 60% of completion there on her, once again, the first time. Great name for a talent, by the way. Probably one of my favorite names, even though I couldn't remember it for, I don't know, half of last season. And the second objective phase coming up. Level 10s are available now for Zirconium League. They looked like they wanted to come in here to go for this fort with that level 10 advantage, but they didn't quite get there. The Chromie time trap stopping out the ETC. What do we got for our ultimates here? So we saw that Null Gate, also Mosh Pit. We got March of the Black King here. Speaking of March of the Black King, falling very low to the Zool down here, is going to have to be careful of those roots, because all of those minions could cause a problem. There's the light bomb going out, and ETC, I think, was looking for a mosh, but instead he's going to get taken out there. Rainer finishing the job on the cow. And there's the Tranquility coming out, keeping the team nice and healthy. So this is a 4 versus 3 up in the top lane, as Channel currently over in favor of Scalding Sweat Cult. But we do have Tychus coming out of his Odin there. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got the Poison Nova for Zool, which he's just owning bot lane right now. Leoric had to go back. Now, a Weather Vane falling pretty low. Can Rainer finish the job? Not quite with that Malfurion there. And Tlem's coming in with the Null Gate, trying to see if he could catch Rainer and lock him down into a couple of those Warp Rifts. ETC coming back onto the point. Johanna with the Condemn, pulling him right into the Slowing Sands. Now, ETC's not necessarily stuck there, right? He can power slide out, but it's still an annoying place to have to be. Rainer going into the Hyperion. We had the Light Bomb, and it is going to be Blessed Shield. Speaking of Blessed Shield there, just missing the Tychus, him dodging out the Null Gate, however, being put up to isolate the Johanna. She ends up walking around it, and the Null Gate coming right back down. Blue has picked up the channel as Shadona's making way back down there to fight with Zool. And Zool just keeping the lane cleans. That's what he's got to do. And channel might be picked up here. Well, Zool stops the process. And up in the top here, ETC's going to go in. He's got the power slide. He's in the backline by himself. Johanna as well in the opposing backline there. The knockback onto Chromie. And you see right here these Warp Rifts preventing anybody from really coming through there. Even Johanna going through there is going to take a massive amount of damage. So they have to be extremely careful. Ultimately, 92 to 98. I think this is full squad for both teams, as the top fort will go down. And it is 100 to 100. If you didn't know, there are checkpoints basically for the Zerg. So as long as you get to a certain point, and I believe it's about 90%, then you'll get a full Zerg wave. Just like if you're at 0, you still get an 18% Zerg wave. But it looks like the full rotation coming down from everybody here into the bot lane. Zirconium League wants to push with this Zerg wave. Scalding Sweat Cult wants to defend it. We see Zool down here. Johanna's actually the one up in the top lane. Zool having the Scythe and his Cleave to be able to help bring these down quickly. That said, March of the Black King there, used by Leoric to try to bring down the top. Also getting some damage onto the Johanna, but not quite enough. And now Zool going into here, Echoes of Death. So he's going to get 2 additional sides. We saw that just a moment ago. I imagine at 20... it'll be an interesting to call to see what he takes, whether he takes the additional slows from his skeletons, if he takes the Poison Nova upgrade, which gives him self-healing, or if he takes the Mortal Scythe, or whatever it's called, Wounding Scythe, something like that, which gives 75 healing reduction. And with the additional sides, I imagine that's the direction. So we've got a 5-on-4 here. No Leoric. There's the Light Bomb. Zool going out with the Poison Nova, and it's going to be ETC falling first. Johanna coming in with the Unstoppable, walking through the Warp Rifts. Says, I don't care. Bring it on. And Tychus popping Odin does have the Unstoppable, but ultimately the fight's over. They got their ETC, and Scalding Sweat Cult is looking to be aggressive here, maybe make their way onto the siege camp. And I wonder if Johanna saw that they were up there. Not that there was really much that they could do, right? Not in the position they were in. So they do get the siege camp. Tychus up here in the top is going to finish off the siege camp in the top lane to give as much pressure as they can to their bruisers. But the Zerg, by the way, we didn't mention this earlier. Zerg for Scalding Sweat Cult, bringing down the top fort. So evening it out a little bit. There's still one fort in the bot lane here. Now Zool's top, so this is an advantage in favor of Zirconium League, and they see Zool up here, so they're looking for a fight. They still have the mosh pit. They have that March of the Black King, and with this 5-on-4, a good mosh could be a huge problem here. They've got the Rainer penetrating round. We've got Light Bomb, and we've got Johanna's Condemn and Blessed Shield. What's Probius 13? Let's take a look at that. Increased spell power and mana regeneration. Okay, there you go. Mortal Wound, there you go. Yeah, and sorry folks if I miss some chat. There's a lot of action going on here. Oh, Leoric getting caught by the time trap is going to get the Condemn. Pop's unstoppable, so he's going to come out. ETC power sliding in the Iron Skin, keeping Johanna from getting stunned there. And Light Bomb coming out isn't going to hit anybody. It might have hit the Leoric, but he was unstoppable thanks to his march. Ultimately here, we got Hyperion, we got Odin. All the art buttons being pushed, with the exception of Zool's Poison Nova. No deaths, though. And surprisingly, at 13 minutes and 33 seconds in this game, there are just 3 deaths on either side. And here they come from behind. Chromie with the time trap is going to get the time trap on the Rainer only here. They're looking at the Leoric. They get the Rainer taken out, however, as the mosh pit in the back. Now looking at Malfurion getting rooted by Zool here. Shadonis now following very low, but so is ETC. Kroga, however, Zool trying to just stay alive, but they get the kill onto both Leoric and Tychus, and the health bars are so incredibly low from Scalding Sweat Cult. They've got to get on the point to stop this channel. Slems over here is going to try to kill out the minions, keep this minion wave pressure on the bottom fort. Does have one catapult here as well, so it will get a little bit of damage. Probably take out this bottom tower, so that's a little bit more value there for Zirconium League. Meanwhile, in the top, very much the same for Scalding Sweat Cult. If you're not familiar with the new feature on the NGS website, it'll show all of the games active. It has even a scroll bar if there are many games active at the same time. So make sure you check out the Nexus Gaming Series main page and check it out. They can't see these warp rifts, so anybody coming through there would just get obliterated. Well, there's Chromie's time trap here. March of the Black King in the back. We got Light Bomb going out. Hits 3, but Rainer getting deleted by the Probius. And that's it. They got to pull back. Broomji probably falling here. Oh, the leap of faith just in time with the Zool Bone Prison there, locking down Leoric as his unstoppable. His Wraithwalk was complete. Zool also going to be able to make it out. And the power slide, not quite going to be able to land the stun onto Johanna. The priority going over to the siege camp here now, as Zirconium League is going to make their way onto the top control point. And we've got Johanna here putting the brakes on, forcing the Zirconium League to split and try to get onto those points. Now Zool's going to do the same up in the top lane, so they're going to be able to, again, pause it at 80%. So a very significant Zerg wave from Zirconium League definitely coming at some point in this game, and it will go in the top lane where there's no fort. It'll go right into the keep. There's still some walls, so it's not quite as down as the bot lane here. Fight coming in. We got the Slowing Sands and ETC hanging right in there. We got Leoric coming in, looking at this back line, trying to put the pressure onto Anduin. Johanna, Zool up in the front line all by himself. Somehow manages to survive, but it's ETC getting taken out by Rainer. Leoric following as well. Here comes the Light Bomb, hits all 3 of the targets, and Malfurion goes down. They're looking for more. Broomboy going after Clems, but the Zerg wave killing off Johanna, and the full retreat coming from Scalding Sweat Cult. They do get a 3-for-1 out of that, but ultimately the Zerg wave still here. Very little Zergwave here, and Broomji gonna fall to the Zergwave as well. Zergwave MVP might just be the most valuable player of this game entirely, as we do have the camp down in the bot lane starting to pressure the core, but no core defenses up yet. That said, here comes Tlems. He's gonna look to see if he can't get that pressure going as the top keep now goes down. How much value can this Proteus get? Not enough. He's gonna go ahead and back away, as Johanna coming back up here soon, as is Chromie. Keep in mind the core defenses are a little bit different now. The core defense on Braxis will throw out these missiles just like the boss does. We just saw that one land there on Tychus. Warp Rifts, keep in mind they slow and they do a big burst of damage. But we've got Chromie now at level 18. She's the only one that has her upgraded Storm talent. And here we go with a big boss play here. The March of the Black King separating out the Scalding Sweat Cult. And Johanna walking in has the Light Bomb, and it's a boss steal coming in from Scalding Sweat Cult. And Leoric falling, but so does Zool. ETC getting caught by the Bone Prison, and another kill going over to Scalding Sweat Cult. What a play! And as we see Raynor heading back to clean up the lone catapult here, as SSC gonna push in with their boss. This boss will shred this fort in absolutely no time, but that means that this is a 3v3 with Raynor in the back and Zool dead. Odin popped. No level 20 up just yet for either team, with the exception of Chromie there. And that's all we're gonna see out of Scalding Sweat Cult. They're gonna get that bottom fort, head over, get the Bruiser camp now, as Leoric back on the map as well. So in just a moment we'll have everybody coming back up, full squad, and Scalding Sweat Cult has about a half a level lead. We'll see if they're able to get that 20 in enough time. The lane in the bot is pushed out pretty far, so Zirconium League is going to be able to pick up that XP if they head back for it, to give them a little bit of a evening balance there. And here come the green army horses. Hilarious. The once again coming in now with the level 20. Scalding Sweat Cult takes the Bruiser camp away as well. They are just pushing Zirconium League back. They will not let them get anything. Johanna picking up the top lane, and with the double camp pressure here, Zirconium League has to deal with this. They're actually going to get a little bit of XP out of it too, as we're going to see some channel now for Scalding Sweat Cult. The sweaty cultists here, they have no keeps. So even that minor little Zerg wave that comes from Zirconium League, even if they get a 0% channel, if they're not careful, could end the game against them. Because they still have a fair bit to go. They still have to go through the wall to keep with their run. So they have to be a little bit careful. Especially with the pressure here now. We've got two catapults mounting pressure in the bot lane. Level 20 on both sides. And Zool gonna head down into the bot lane. He's gonna get that cleared up. Now this is visible for Zirconium League, so they know that at least one player's not there. Zool gonna rotate up. He's rotating on his side, but so is Zirconium League. So we'll see. Yeah, he saw that coming around. He ended up avoiding that. Chromie there popping off the time traps, but ultimately not quite getting the ETC. And they're going in. Here comes the Johanna. They're looking for Leoric. That's who that was. ETC gets the mosh pit, but it's going to get immediately interrupted. Here comes March of the Black King. He's going to have that upgrade, but the time trap coming out. Light Bomb not going to land. Zool gets the root onto Malfurion, but can Korga finish the job? It's not going to happen. Leoric, however, did fall up above to the rest of the team, so 4v4, but we've got quad catapults in the bot lane threatening core. So 1 for 1 doesn't matter. If these catapults don't get cleared, they finish the game. Rainer's gonna head back and take care of that, but that's gonna give now Zirconium League the advantage. But with that advantage, they're just gonna start off by just taking this one. Just one. And at this point, a core race, I'm almost positive, goes over to Zirconium League. Leoric back up, 20 seconds on the Zool. Most likely, Zool's going to have to clean a lane when he comes up. So really, we're talking 35, 40 seconds before Zool's able to participate in any significant combat encounter here. 50 seconds on Mosh Pit, 28 seconds on the Odin. Raynor still needing about 15 seconds on his Hyperion. So most of the ults are available. And here comes Zool. Bot lane will become a problem here as the Siege Camp will put in pressure. And again, Siege Camp gives 20 armor, or up to 20 armor penalty when it attacks. Here we go. Zool coming in, has the root onto Leoric. Leoric doesn't care. He just throws a Drain Life out onto Zool. Light Bomb coming in is going to hit too, but the boss has been engaged as well. Odin in the backline. Kroga falling very low here, but can they get the kill onto Tychus, especially with the boss helping out? They just say, you know what? Walk away. Let the boss do the work. Time Trap coming out. Leoric taking boatloads of damage here. Is going to make it out with half health. Using that March of the Black King with the level 20 upgrade, getting that Drain Hope onto all the enemy heroes. Leoric right up in the business of Scalding Sweat Cult. Zool gonna head up into the top, but he's a little bit in danger now as ETC's rotating up. And this is a 5-on-4, but if you're gonna hold both points, it can even out that fight for just a moment. Boss is still available and on the map, but check it out, the pressure is mounting. Zirconium League has all of the advantage here. They don't have to win through aggression. They can win through patience. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're just trying to stall out so that they can get their Tychus back. Zool has to clear this up. The camps will help to counter the pressure of the catapults coming in. And we see, again, just a little bit of cat and mouse here as we go through. Did you see how big those corn stalks were on Odin? Yes, they were pretty massive. So Broomboy coming in. Now, there's no Zool here. Tychus is not here either, though. ETC's going straight into the backline along with Leoric. And Johanna trying to avoid letting them just steal this Bruiser camp, but it's not going to happen. Zirconium League going to be successful in picking up this camp. And it looks like the channel beginning... I don't know that Johanna... yeah, they'll get there. But now... with the camp and seeing that everybody's heading up top, they're going to push in. Zirconium League is at least going to cause a threat here. And it looks like with the Odin, they're going to push it. They want to see if they can't get this down. There's not a lot of shielding. It's already down. Hyperion coming out for the defense. There's the Poison Nova. Keeping in mind, that's the upgraded Poison Nova. So that gives additional healing as well. I think additional damage also, right? Well, kind of additional damage and increased duration. So yeah, basically. But they're looking for this fight. They want to find somebody. There's the Blessed Shield going out onto the Leoric. The Light Bomb coming out. They get the Leoric killed. But the top control point is going to go over to Zirconium League. Is this enough? This bottom Zerg wave is going to come through. Can they get it? Oh, just in time, 96%. Just a briefest moment here. The boss engaged. Is this the right call? Leoric is going to see this. Now, they've got Johanna. Johanna's the only hero that's completely unstoppable between these two teams, so she can stay on the point. But is it the right call? There's the Condemn pulling ETC off, but ETC's going right on in. He's going to get deleted with the big Death Mosh. 4-man. Zool falling very low, but nobody's finishing the job. Leoric's going to come in. He is going to finally finish there with the Tychus getting it, but Tychus falling then thanks to the Johanna, thanks to the Raynor. And Leoric with the March of the Black King going in, trying to stall out the team, trying to keep the pressure from this lane on. The core taking significant damage, and now Leoric's going to head to the bot lane. Johanna making the right call, has to go back to try to stop this channel. I think she made it in time, yeah. So just barely does Johanna make this. And the boss now setting up. This is fantastic for Scalding Sweat Cult, because the boss is now setting up the destruction of this wall, which means that the next Zerg wave coming in here, they can fully defend and not feel as much pressure. That top Zerg wave now going through straight through the fort can kill the core by itself. And if they fully defend here, especially with the Chromie, with the Sandblast, they have a little bit easier time of it. And it looks like Zirconium League is going to head in. They're going to bring in their full squad. Tychus is going to be late, but they're going to do it. And here comes Leoric looking for that March of the Black King. There it is. Everybody running away, so it's going to be on 3 heroes that he's draining that life. Hyperion coming out as well, trying to get as much damage onto the Zerg as they can. Kroga going in so... Oh my goodness! So deep with the Poison Nova. Broomboy falling very low. Here comes Odin and the No-Gate. Oh no. Broomboy falling low. Shadonis as well, though. Johanna having to pull back. The Zerg starting to put pressure on the core of Zirconium League. Is it enough? ETC with the big 4-man mosh pit here. It's not enough. That Zerg wave finishes the game for Scalding Sweat Cult, just as I said that it would. And they succeed in pulling off the victory on Brax's holdout. What a game. What a 27, almost 28 minutes on this game. Crazy. Well played by both teams. Really fantastic calls. Really good job on the macro, paying attention to what was going on. Zirconium League just had a little bit, needed a little bit more aggression. When Zool was walking up, they needed to find a way to kill him because that Poison Nova did so much. But with Chromie, with the Johanna, they just couldn't quite find it. So there you go. Segatai says, this is why I hate Braxis. Segatai, I don't know, man. That exactly went how I said that it would, right? Both teams had a significant wave. The Scalding Sweat Cult was able to set things up with that boss. And then they said, you know what? We can defend. What needed to happen there, what Zirconium League needed to do is they needed to defend as well, right? That wasn't their moment, unfortunately for them. Or if it was, they needed to be more aggressive about it. Because they did have the advantage, right? They still had their keep up. They still had, they took 40% almost off of the core, and the shields were fairly low. There you go. Is it because red blocked the Zerg to the core? I mean, that's a huge factor of it, right? I mean, pausing the Zerg wave with the Zool damage was a huge factor in that. What's that soundboard clip about feeling hot after? I've heard it a million times, but I can't remember. But, you know, pro tip, that was not supposed to be hot. It was actually high, but I cut off the word. So, yeah. That was a really fantastic game. What a wonderful game to have as the first game of the first match for these teams in Division C. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. I think I even got a great commercial for you guys on that one. We'll be back.
Systems online. Commence hero upgrade. Hero upgrade complete.
Hail to the Queen.
New battleground detected. New hero arrival.
The Queen of Blades. This should be fun. Don't worry, I'll make this quick.
Having fun yet?
Please, you had best be joking. Oh, you really don't seem to be up to this task, do you? Oops. I expected so much more.
Do you ever shut up?
Yes! Finally a challenge!
Welcome back, everybody. We've got one player that apparently is having some technical difficulties, but they'll be back, I'm sure, very soon here. And you know what? We do know where we're going, so let's go ahead and start off with that, shall we? Our map number 2 here is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. It was the selection of Scalding Sweat Cult. It looks like Zirconium League preferring that first pick. And you know what? I did not take all that time to write down the heroes, so I'm going to do that right now as we go through this. But if you happen to have just joined us, our bans from earlier, coming out from Zirconium League, we had the bans on Sky Temple and Dragonshire. For Scalding Sweat Cult, Alterac Pass and Infernal Shrines. If you happen to have missed that game, it was Brax's holdout. It was selected by Zirconium League, and it was a good game. There was a lot of cat and mouse. There were some really fantastic combination plays. All told, it was a 28-minute just brawl. So there you go. Make sure you go back and check that one out later if you didn't get to see it live. Also, keep in mind there are some other Nexus Gaming Series games playing, and you can use a multi-Twitch to set those up if you'd like. Basically, it's just like multi-Twitch.tv or something like that, and then you slash and then you put in the names. If you Google it, you can find it out. But there are let's actually just take a look at the website here. Looks like Murda's got Sky 5 and two calculated to throw. Let's see. Oh, that's me. And then we also got Dirk throws these versus your math teachers, casted by Rackham LFG and Murda RG. So make sure you stop by those, give them a follow, maybe a sub, say hello, let them know that I'm ready, just in case they were waiting on me. Oh, I was gonna write these down. All right, so last game we had the Leoric, we had the Tychus, we had Malfurion, Probius, and ETC. All right, and then for Scalding we had Johanna, Raynor, Zool, Chromie, and Anduin. Here we go, Battlefield of Eternity. It's time for game number 2, everybody. Clem's first Probius loss in NGS history. Feels bad, man. Do you think we're gonna see the Probius again? Or does Tlem's put the Probius boots up? Or is there a ban? I don't know. They didn't ban it last time. It was a very close game, though. Unlike the prior series that I've seen the Probius in, there were definitely Probius moments. I do not want to... I'm going to preface by saying that. But I did not feel like Probius was the hard carry this last game. In this last game, I felt that the front line did a lot of work. ETC had some really fantastic moshes. Death Metal on the boss there. Didn't quite go how they wanted it to, but it was good. And Leoric did a ton of work. But we're going to see a little bit of an adjustment here. Vala and Lunar are going to be the bans now. And Zool's going to be the first pick for Shadonis. Subbed out, indeed. We did get oh, that's true, that's true. So, nope, we're not getting a Probius. Fair enough. Good call, guys. I even knew that. I already changed that. Li Ming and ETC going to be the pickup here. When he's a one-trick a TLV. Yeah, fair enough. I'm certain that Tlems has played other heroes. We're going to get a Muradin and Raynor, so Raynor switching sides this game. Third and final ban coming up for Scalding Sweat Cult. It's going to be the Chromie. Chromie's got pretty decent race, so not a big surprise there. And using the slowing sands on a map like this would help out the Raynor pretty significantly, I think. It's going to be Sylvanas. I like that ban a lot. Sylv did get a bit of a nerf on Battlefield of Eternity as they removed her ability to do extra damage to the Immortal. Now, it looks like we're going to save our healer for last, so it's going to be Greymane and Sonya for Scalding Sweat Cult. So I'm going to wait and then say who I think it's going to be. I'm going to say who I think it's going to be. In fact, I'm going to type it in right now. Never mind. It's not going to be Rhaegar because it just got stolen. I think it was going to be Rhaegar, rather. I think we could see an Anduin here. I think we could see a... we could even potentially see a Morales. Maybe. No real significant dive coming out from Zirconium League, and a Morales would give him a stim drone on Greymane or Sonya. But it's going to be Stukov. Stukov's also... probably the better pick. But we are going to see a Weathervane going in onto the Tassadar. So looking forward to seeing how Tassadar performs in this setup here. Has the root, has the stuns on his team to help. To make sure he lands those shock rays. Also has now the baseline force wall. Oh, I gotta do the Q thing. Let's see. Manage poll. All right, who do you think is going to win game number 2? Is it going to be the Zirconium League? Currently down 0-1 in this series. They've got their Zool on this side of the map now. Or is it going to be Scalding Sweat Cult coming in with the Sonya? Vote in chat. You know what to do. You've done it. Do want to shout out, let's see, who do we got? We had Darker Black 11 and Jukal Boogle for the follows. Appreciate you following. I hope you're enjoying the cast tonight. And if you're not, then it's because you weren't watching, because that was a fantastic match. And here we go. Game loading. Oh, you know what? I didn't even look. I hope they didn't swap any people. If they did, then my pop-ups are going to be wrong, and you guys will just have to accept that. Game number 2. It's on Battlefield of Eternity here. On the left, we've got Umbob on the Rhaegar. Pet Wolverine playing the Raynor, and he's got the right synergy there. We got Dead on the Muradin. A Weathervane playing Tassadar. And so we're going to be played by Shadonis. That is Zirconium League. All right, and on the right, Scalding Sweat Cult. We've got Kroga playing the Sonya. We got Nubaka on the Greymane, Broomboy on the ETC, Viper playing Stukov, and Broomji this time on the Li Ming. All right, so what do we got here? So let's start off with the Li Ming. It's gonna be the Force Armor, so she's gonna have that spell armor. She's gonna have the additional mana regen. lots of vision. They have no idea where Scalding Sweat Cold is. They're putting everything everywhere to double check. Because keep in mind, Tassadar no longer has baseline vision. He can take it at level 13, but it's not his standard. Scalding Sweat Cold getting the majority of the votes at 60%. We'll see if that turns out to be prophetic like it was last game. Zool versus Sonya. So Sonya at level 4 can take a root cleanse, a self cleanse with her whirlwind. So we'll have to see how that goes out. I think that's probably a decent matchup overall, though. Although both of them want to fight in the lane, and I think depending on what build Zool goes, that could be a very bad thing for Sonya, because she'll be able to get the additional healing, but eventually so can Zool, with a cooldown reduction, with an auto attack reduction, with a damage reduction eventually if he takes it. But is that the right call, or does he go into the Scythe? He might go into the Scythe build, because I don't think we'll see the skeletons here. We already see a little bit of a different build here going into Shackler. So he's got cooldown reduction anytime he attacks a hero that's been slowed, stunned, or rooted. Who's that? Broom Boy's mom. Oh, is that... Are you actually Broom Boy's mom? If so, that's cool. Welcome, Broom Boy's mom. I'm sure the Broom Boy appreciates you watching the show. Alright, so ETC getting the power slide onto Rhaegar, looking for the Murden. The Force Wall, however, preventing ETC from getting his personal disengage. I wonder if we'll see ETC take the Crowd Surfer. I might allow him to go over. Now, it looks like we're going to see ETC head on over and steal away the camp. That's some great awareness. They almost even get the kill onto Raynor, although Raynor pulling away. Never mind. Li Ming going to get that and pull off a reset as well. And that's something you really have to be mindful of, is if you've got a hero that just disappears for a little while and then they come back, especially on a map like this, they might have gone to that camp and they might have left it. And if they did, there you go. All right, so Tassadar taking a little bit of a different build, going into Kadaran Amulet. So his changes now, as he auto attacks, he gains increasing damage. Let's actually take a look at Tassadar here. Oh, they're looking at Zool. Let's check that out instead. The rotation in. Zool going to get the root out, but it's not going to be enough. ETC is going to get the face melt, and Li Ming getting the reset off that. Let's go back to that Tassadar. So Tassadar, you see here, he's at 100. So as he's auto attacking, his damage is increasing. That will also give him a link. It gives him, his talent will give him an additional attack. You can see it right here, as it was going from the shaman to one of the minions there. Broom Boy doing what he can to slow down the race potential out of Zirconium League. Not really ideal. I think if they turn and burn him, then he just dies. But ultimately, he's successful. He might still die here, especially with the Force Wall preventing the rest of the team from coming in. So, with that level 1 talent, it means that Tassadar now can actually do additional damage by just auto-attacking. He can chain onto enemy heroes. Eventually, he'll get a second target. That said, it's a really challenging talent, because if you, say, attack a structure, it'll cleave onto another hero. And if you're trying to push with, say, an Immortal, that structure is going to attack you. So we'll see how that turns out for him. The auto attack build is an interesting one. It also gives, he's taken this level 4 here, Plasma Shield. So he's going to give himself shields. Murden getting Power Slide, yeah. And Broom Boy going in, gets the knockback. This is 4-on-4 here, Unstoppable used onto Murden, but he's going to have to pull back. He doesn't have a lot of health. And Greymane going in, trying to get him. Can't quite do it. Rhaegar, however, getting melted back. And the double arcane orbs coming out from Li Ming, ultimately securing the kill onto Murden. And there you go. Kime, no. Zool wasn't banned either game. That is, in fact, true. And Sonya did go into the Hurricane, so she can cleanse herself of roots and snares when she uses her whirlwind. Also has the block, so that'll help her with Zool with his cleave autos. And we're in a bit of a lull. Only thing on the map available is the bottom camp. Nobody's quite interested in going for that just yet. So Nona's going out just to throw out a root, spend a little mana. Maybe trying to convince Sonya to use her whirlwind early. Now the camps are coming up. 20 seconds over here for Zirconium League, 56 seconds for Scalding Sweat Cult. Man, Zul's just making it through everywhere, isn't he? All right, and the race begins. So far here, it's going to be Zirconium League with the start on the race. Keep in mind, of course, that Raynor with the Exterminator has really I think the highest race of anybody in this game currently, and it is actually the skeletons here taking Jailer, so that's why he threw out the root onto Sonya, was to get those additional skeletons. So keep in mind, of course, that the scythe will spawn skeletons off of heroes now, as both teams, never mind, just Zirconium League picking up their shaman camp, and Zul's gonna go ahead and push this up a little bit. They're gonna get the bottom camp as well, as level 10's picked up for Scalding Sweat Cult. Viper just catching a little bit of that circle, that stun circle. And that's going to give them now the opportunity to get their own shaman camp, but getting some pressure in the bot lane. The wall already down here. Interested to see, are they going to be able to get this Sonya? And it doesn't look like it. Sonya was pretty far back, and nobody was really in a position, like Muradin would have to dive on the opposite side. But it is Rhaegar going into Bloodlust, so with the Raynor and the Zool, that's going to be pretty significant. Zool missing just one of his minions there. Got to place those just a little better to get the fourth one, but it's enough to keep the team from coming through. Zirconium League, there's the shield here from Zool, but it's already gone. Getting those cleaves out, and here comes the Bloodlust. But it's Zool falling very low. Sonya's spinning to win, but not enough. Gonna be the Sonya and Greymane falling. Zool eventually does as well. Bob falling the Immortal, getting that stun. Not a great place to fight under the enemy team's Immortal, so it's gonna be a 2 for 2 so far. But if you're Scalding Sweat Cult, you still have a healer here, and you got a dead Raynor now. Li Ming getting the reset. That's all it's going to be here. Can Tassadar get enough onto this? Now, is it Sledgehammer? It is Sledgehammer. So Muradin able to get a pretty significant amount of damage onto that, even with just one Q. But we got Li Ming and Greymane pushing on to the blue Immortal here now, so that'll be coming up soon. Muradin having to dive out. Tassadar having to stand still to get those autos. And it's just not going to be enough. Greymane and Li Ming will finish the job there. The root going out onto ETC. Silence slowing things down, and there's the knockback coming from Stukov with the disengage. The big flailing swipe to keep the rest of the team alive there. So it is going to be another Immortal going over to Scalding Sweat Cult. Let's take a look at some of these ultimates. We've already seen some of them. We saw that mosh pit. There's Wrath of the Berserker for Sonya as well. She's up there fighting against Zool. Let's actually take a look at that here. Stukov with the flailing swipe, disintegrate there, and Cursed Bullet just right out onto Muradin, as we call it. Meanwhile, for the Zirconium League, we've got that Bloodlust avatar going to be the pick there for Muradin. We saw the Skeletal Mages for Zool, the Archon for Tassadar, and Hyperion for Raynor. Up in the top here, Shadonis falling a little bit back away from the Sonya, has the Wrath of the Berserker currently active. And we've got the rotation from the rest of Zirconium League. But that's going to leave this completely open. So I expect once people actually recognize that this is happening, that we'll see some fort damage here. We see the pings going out. Scalding Sweat Cult says, we know you're up there. We're going to get this. And they have a little bit of an advantage. The wall's already down, so they'll be able to take that down quickly. Now, Sonya can very easily trigger the fort to attack the Tassadar. And she's going to do so by just going in with the Whirlwind. Poor Zool not getting prioritized as much anymore. Raynor forced that on himself so hard. Indeed. And ultimately, Scalding Sweat Cult will take the W on this one, getting a full fort down. And the top lane did not go down for Zirconium League. So Zool in the bot lane is going to try to keep things moving forward. Keep in mind, he can pressure that very quickly with those skeletons. So Scalding Sweat Cold, if they're going to be up here, they kind of have to get value out of this. And I don't think they can with this level of defense. And Zool now making his way on to the fort with his minion waves there. So just going to be a bit of damage there. It's going to be about half, roughly, as Immortals are on the board. And we can see here now, Dead On taking the orbs. Now, of any tank, Muradin can take those orbs because he can heal it right back up. If it's intermittent like that, he can heal it up very quickly. You see he's already coming up to full. So it's a lot of damage that Muradin was able to take instead of the Immortal there. Curse Bullet going out. Shadonus taking a bunch of that damage. Let's put this away for a bit here. A lot of defense. This is really in favor of Zirconium League, as it's going to be able to push that bottom fort in, so they can afford to be a little bit patient. Not too patient, because they'll occasionally have catapults coming in. That'll eventually work against them. And here comes the Bloodlust now with Sonya in the bot lane. There's the disengage. Muradin in the back lane, however, gets the stun onto ETC, and it's Sukov that pays the price. Here comes ETC power sliding, but he gets the Bone Prison, and that's a 2 for nothing with the Hyperion on top of it all. And that's going to give at least halftime over to Zirconium League. And that's a fantastic play, using their Shaman Camp to create pressure. And the moment they saw Sonya, they knew they had the opportunity to push forward. And Bloodlust gives you that auto attack speed, gives you that movement speed. And here we go. This is the first Immortal for Zirconium League, and it's a doozy. Nearly a full shield. I believe the only damage that was done to it was a single Leeming Orb. And it's a 4v4 defense here. Broom Boy getting caught by the wall, having to go a little bit around it. But even with the Immortal full health, it's still a very challenging defense, because if you attack a hero, that tower is still going to focus on you. And Greymane getting caught by the Muradin there. Good disengage by Broom Boy, allowing the Greymane to be able to make it out there, as the Stormbolt quest complete now for Muradin. Immortal still sitting with a shield, so it's able to continue attacking at range, as level 16 is now available for Zirconium League. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and pull back. Now they're rotating up. Where are they rotating to? Are they going to set up a bush gank? Are they looking for the Shaman Camp? I think the Shaman Camp's up. Maybe not. Oh, they got it right at the end. That's right. Instead, they're going to rotate up and maybe see if they can't take down this fort. If they poke it from far enough away, they're fine. But here comes the rotation. ETC is going to get the power slide, and Zool going to find himself a one-way ticket right back to the graveyard. Siege Camp going to be picked up for Zirconium League. And all but dead on this fort. Very close, about maybe 5% of its health. But now the bot lane pressure in favor of Zirconium League. Got the catapults, they got the mini wave pushed up. Can Scalding Sweat Cult push in and maybe get this top fort? They have the advantage with Zool dead, but Sonya's in the bot lane. So ultimately it's even. In fact, it's going to turn around. It looks like it may go the other way, because it doesn't take much. A couple of attacks and this fort will go down. But it's going to require a pretty significant commitment. Hyperion would actually end that. Raynor could finish that fort. It looks like they're going to rotate down. Raynor leading the charge. Maybe not. Just Raynor. And Raynor's coming back. And here we see a lone Jimothy Raynor in the wild, as Muradin, looking for the ETC, stalking the bull as he gets Cursed Bullet right in the back of the face. in the back of the face. Man, I would be a terrible nature commentator thing. Every time Raynor knocks a protected hero back towards safety, an angel gets its wings. Fair enough. All right, here come the Li-Ming orbs. Shaman camp on its way to the bot lane. A siege camp picked up for Scalding Sweat Cult. I think the Shaman camp wins that. I am not positive though. But otherwise, even on structures, there are no additional catapults. If Raynor used Hyperion there, it would probably be back now. And they'd have catapult pressure occasionally. Just throwing that out there. So Zool cleaning up the lane just a little bit here, helping out the Shaman. And it looks like ETC's going to head on in. We got Murden in the back. There come the Skeletal Mages, the knockback onto ETC. It's going to be Zool falling very low. Here comes the Bloodlust. ETC going down first with the cleaves. Sonya going to fall next, and Murden looking for more. Gets the stun onto Greyman. The penetrating round throwing Greyman into the wall. He cannot escape. 3 kills for nothing, as the Bloodlust so strong for Zirconium League. And I just gotta say, I think maybe these guys might have seen us play this. I mean, we didn't have the Zool, but a lot of this things seems very familiar to a Regen Phoenix composition. Just gonna say that, gonna throw that little tidbit out there. Li-Ming with the long range orbs, able to get a little bit of damage out there, but now stealing away the Shaman camp. With the Shaman camp going in the bot lane, all of the pressure mounting in favor of Zirconium League. And once again, they're going to have a pretty significant immortal. It's going to go into the top lane as the wall is fully up here. Full health. And we're going to get this rotation in. There are no ultimates. So going into this fight without the immortal is a little bit sketch. The missed Stormbolt there, and now Murden taking some damage from the towers. Raynor as well. Zool getting some cleave. And it is important to note here, Zool going into the cleave build entirely with the exception of the level 4. So it doesn't have the cooldown reduction? Yeah. He gets the haste, he gets the healing, and he gets the damage reduction, which is a new addition at level 16 here. Both from his skeletal warriors and his cleave. Let's put those away. We saw that chain link there coming from the Tassadar, able to link the damage out. Root going on to ETC. And the tower's now attacking Shadonas. Here comes the Bloodlust. The keep will go down in just a moment here. The knockback from Viper, trying to keep everybody back. But this Immortal's still pretty healthy. Has a decent shield, and level 20's coming up soon, but not here. But it doesn't matter. The core defense is coming in hard. Rhaegar and Murden getting rooted. ETC gonna get the stun. And level 20's now available here. The Immortal pushing onto the core. Is there enough in the tank from Zirconium, or do they just need to pull back? The Immortal, 27% on the core, is going to fall at 18%. Could they have completed it? It's tough to say. Zool has basically no health. Raynor, pretty low. Tassadar, pretty low. Let's take a look at this health. For about 4,000. So that's, I think that's one... Not one. I think one shock ray does 500 or 600 damage. Penetrating round at this point would be about the same. Maybe they could have done it, but I think what they really need to do is just wait for that 20. I think they got a little hyper because they had the advantage there, but that root, the core defenses coming in strong, getting the double kill. And level 20s now available here for Scalding Sweat Cult. What do we got here? Teams rotating in. We see ETC holding the bush, anchoring against any potential invade. And Zirconium League has all the opportunity here. They can be patient. Oh, this is going to get scouted out. If Oh, I could swear they saw that, but Bloodlust coming in. A great Murden Stormbolt hitting 2. ETC using Bolt of the Storm, but it's not going to matter. Quad kill, Li-Ming the sole survivor, and it's gonna be a game number 3 as Zirconium League now making their way to the core after a mega successful bush gank. And this core falling very quickly. GG. We're going to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. All right, again, a pretty even game. The kills 13-10 before that final bush gank. That was a 9-10. And I gotta say, I really thought the Rhaegar was in the vision there at that last moment. I thought the ETC had seen that, but clearly they didn't. Because if they had, I think ETC power slides into that bush. And if he power slides into that bush, I think that ends in a very different way. But Zirconium League pulling it off, finding themselves the right place at the right time and finishing the game. Take a look at these talents. This is level 20 from Tassadar. Oh, you know, this is funny because this is a talent that I think a lot of people, from what I heard, you can't actually see it. Kala's gift. It says gain 4% spell power for yourself and each nearby ally hero, up to 20% total spell power. Your total bonus is shared with all contributing allies. So that's pretty significant overall, but I think it was considered kind of a meme talent. But I mean, that's a lot of damage, right? I mean, you throw a Stormbolt out. Now that's I don't know, 800 or so plus. Rhaegar, you've got Tassadar's Psy Storm, and everybody was in that bush gang, so everybody got 20% spell power. Pretty solid. So we have seen already 2 fantastic games in this best of 3 series. And we're now sitting 1-1 in the overall score. This is exciting. This is the kind of competition you want to see in an amateur league. So with teams that are clearly evenly matched, right? Both of these teams have done great things in the match in each of these games, had their highlight moments, and at the end of the game, it almost, in some cases, feels like a coin flip, right? Because who wins that last fight? In this case, it was the bush gank from Zirconium League, and in the last game, it was the objective pressure that ultimately supported Scalding Sweat Cult. But everything before then was a similar story. It was back and forth, pushing a tug of war the entire game. So looking forward to seeing what we get out of game number 3. Not sure where we're gonna go, because we've seen now both of the 2-lane maps, very brawly maps. Maybe we'll see something like Volskaya, maybe. I don't know. Oh, never mind. We're gonna get something completely different. But you know what? You guys are gonna have to wait for that. We'll be right back.
There is an eternal battle between light and darkness. The high heavens and the burning hells. Now, that conflict continues in a new arena. For the very heart of the Nexus is about to begin. Which side will you choose?
All right, welcome back, everybody. Our third and final game. I teased it a moment ago. Let's take a look, see where we're going. Game 3 is going to take place on Towers of Doom. Very different setup. Not quite as brawly. Definitely more of a macro map than the other two that we've seen so far in this set. And you know what? If this isn't a 0-1 game, then I don't know what is, because these teams have been playing just about as equal as they possibly could be. So looking forward to watching this one. This could be just an absolutely insane map. Now, I'm gonna tell you, if Zool gets through on this one, then these guys are doing something wrong. But let's talk about the rest of the games here. So we had bans originally coming out from Zirconium League on Sky Temple and Dragonshire. And then Scalding Sweat Cult, they banned out Alterac Pass and Infernal Shrines. Our first game, Brax's Holdout, that was picked by Zirconium. It was won by Scalding Sweat Cult. Game number 2, Battlefield of Eternity, it was picked by Scalding Sweat Cult, and it was won by Zirconium League. Towers of Doom here, the pick of Zirconium League. Is it going to be the first pick series, or do we see potentially a new winner in that regard? Is it going to be the map pick winner? We'll just have to wait and find out. And there goes the Zool. Not a big surprise. Not surprised. It needed to be done. Zool, 100% win rate in this series so far. I don't think it's been because of Zool. I don't think either team has really seen significant advantage, but you could see that on this map. So I like that they got rid of it. We're gonna get rid of Kael'thas. Also can see a lot of value here, as teams tend to kind of congregate around those points. They want to stay close together. It also means that certain heroes, like say Stukov or Lucio, makes it a little bit harder, or even the Alexstrasza, a little bit harder for them to heal. They have to pay a little bit more attention to the positioning of their allies when there's a living bomb going out there. But we're going to see an instant lock onto the Johanna. Johanna was the pick of Broomboy in game number 1. And clearly, in this more sustained map, we're going to see a little bit more of that. Anduin and Leoric, the pick for Zirconium League. Anduin, a big favorite for Lulu there. And Shadonis returning to his role as the Skeleton King from game number 1. Now, I do wonder if we're going to see a similar build out of Shadonis on this Leoric, or if we'll see the Entomb coming out instead of the March of the Black King. Entomb on this map can be absolutely devastating. Jaina and Stukov. So this could be a nice start to a combo with the Johanna Condemn into a Jaina. Could see the Ring of Frost, and then a Stukov Silence coming in after that would be pretty rough to deal with. Raynor going to be the third and final ban. Also, Raynor, the other hero that has been in both victories of this game, of this series. And it's going to be Leeming, the third and final ban of this set. Let's see, Jaina. Okay, there we go. All set, all caught up. 3 different lineups in 3 different games. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think we've seen 7 people total out of Zirconium. There's the Probius from Tlems. And Deadon going into Mal'Ganis. So that was banned out in the first game, but this time it's getting through. What's it going to be? So we've got our solo laner. We've got another damage. So it could be Greymane again, even potentially. But it's going to be Falstad. So Malthael's going to enable them to have a double soak, much like what the Zool could have done. And Falstad gives them the potential for bribes, stealing away camps when there's opportunity to do so. Also has the flight, allowing for more mobility around the map and a quick gank when Malthael is able to get some extra pressure there onto the Leoric. Leoric also able to double soak pretty effectively. A little bit, takes a little bit longer for him to catch up, and it's going to be Tychus there for a Weather Vane. Pina Colada with the follow as well. Thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the show. And that's it. That's our draft. Let's see. We want the manage ball. There we go. All right, there we go. Who do you think's gonna win game number 3? Is it gonna be Zirconium League coming in off of a hot win with that Bush gank finishing the job, or is it gonna be the winners of game number 1, Scalding Sweat Cult? Vote in chat, hit the drop down, select the team you think's gonna win, or just that you want to win. Hit the vote button, and let's see if chat gets it right this time. Chat was wrong last game. You guys are at 50%. And here we go. Into Towers of Doom. On the left, we've got Zirconium League looking to complete the reverse sweep. We got Tlims playing the Probius. We got a Weather Vane on the Tychus, dead on Mal'Ganis. Lulu playing the Anduin, and Shadonis on the Leoric. And over here for Scalding Sweat Cult, looking to prevent that reverse sweep, we got Kroga playing the Malthael Broomboy on the Johanna, Viper on the Stukov, Nubaka on Falstad, and Broomji on the Jaina. All right, so right out of the gate, dead on, trying to put somebody to sleep, see if they can't get some value right in the beginning here. So let's take a look at our talents here. We got Stukov rather, going into the Spine Launcher. So he's going to have that auto attack from range, but it also slows. And I think he might be the only hero that has auto attacks. No, that's not true. Tychus also, or Tassadar also slows. Going to see that Warp Resonance there for Probius once again. And already here, the rotations... I was going to say they were slightly favoring Scalding Sweat Cult, but then they changed their mind. So never mind. We got Winged Guard, formerly the banned talent for Mal'Ganis, but it's legal again. That's the 75 physical armor for an attack. Also, Renew going to be the pickup for Anduin here, as both teams make their way onto their siege camps. On a Pale Horse, going to give Malthael the opportunity to double soak. Look at how quickly he gets around this map. The only hero without... No, never mind. I didn't say anything. But he's going to come down. They want to invade on this siege camp. Johanna does have the Unstoppable, but Sleep going to put the back line to sleep. Viper falling very low, did have the silence out there. Lulu following low here, however, but is going to be able to make it away as Tychus falling. So a 1-for-1 trade in that. The siege camp ultimately getting picked up by Zirconium League. What else do we got? We got Ocean Renewal, so Leoric's going to be able to pop off some extra healing, especially when he gets those healing globes. That reduces the cooldown. And I think that's everybody on the side. Oh, nope, we have the Tychus dash again, so the movement speed and all that good stuff. Meanwhile, it's Gathering Storm here for Falstad, so extra damage when he throws out that Hammerang. The Fingers of Frost for Jaina, so the additional mana return, but once she completes that, the additional 10% damage to chilled targets. Winged Guardian Leviosa. Okay, there we go. Let's see, and I'm missing one. Who was it? Johanna, Ironskin. Hold your ground. 4v4 in the bot lane as the triple altar phase begins. It's the first one of the night. We'll see another one in 4 altar phases. Looks like right now we're going to have a fight over the bottom half of the map, as Malthael and Leoric here hanging out, working on the soak. They're actually going to send Anduin right back to where they were. Never mind. Let's take a look here. Let's actually zoom out because we got a couple of fights going on. Falstad zoning out the Probius as both of the solo laners able to pick up in the top lane here. Broomboy having to pull back. He's fairly low. Mal'Ganis is going to be the one to start channeling. Kind of surprising. He's got the best way to stall. And we see here Broomboy falling very low. Does get the stall, but at what cost? Has to use Iron Skin to get out. Is going to be able to make it out, but Falstad getting some damage there onto the Leoric. In addition to getting a couple of stacks for Gathering Storm. As Malthael acknowledging that maybe this isn't our time. Our Johanna's very low. The Warp Rift stacks there doing a ton of damage. And now, with the 2 stacks that they got out of that, Probius is going to start doing additional damage. So, you know, for what it's worth, as a non-support main, I like Renew. But, you know, different styles. Johanna's going to go in. The Chastise coming in. Is it enough? Fellclaw's just barely catching Broomboy. But the quarterback... Did he get quarterback? Nope. He took Relentless Soldier. He didn't have it there anyways. So not quite enough range to get the Johanna. And both teams potentially now looking at their siege camps. But Scalding Sweat Cult now very much afraid of bushes. After the end of game number 2. And here they come. Without the bush. Johanna's going to get the Condemn, pulling in the Mal'Ganis and the Tychus. Now, what do we got here? So, in order to stop Mal'Ganis with his sleeps and whichever ult he takes, it's going to be very difficult for Scalding Sweat Cult. They only have 2 options. They've got Stukov and they've got Johanna. Stukov takes a moment to kind of cast, unless he takes his, you know, massive shove or the flailing swipe. That the massive shove will interrupt his carrion swarm. Flailing swipe won't, but it'll disengage and prevent any value coming from it. So Johanna's really the only significant way with a blessed shield, because even Condemn isn't really that great for it. But here we go, going right on in. We get Mal'Ganis putting the entire team to sleep except for Broomboy. He did have the Fellclaw's stun onto the Johanna though, and Mal'Ganis in danger of the Malthael. Tlem's, however, gonna get the channel just in time. The flashlight just a moment too late to be able to stall that one out. 36-28 the score in favor of Zirconium League. And right now in the bot lane here, the wall already gone. And I don't think that these... maybe these towers do. Broomji, however, gonna be caught out there. Jaina gonna get taken out by the Probius, really the full team on that one. And now a little bit of pressure coming in on this bot lane. It's a little bit harder to siege into these towers, of course, now because they provide additional defense. So Towers of Doom, the bot lane being so valuable, you need the sappers almost. But level 10s are available here for Zirconium League. So it's going to be Light Bomb, Carrion Swarm. We got that in Tomb, as I thought it might be. Along with the Nullgate and the Odin. And level 10's now available for Scalding Sweat Cult. We got that Blessed Shield, the Mighty Gust. It's going to be Last Rites, Massive Shove, and Ring of Frost. Missed the blind on Tychus there. Yeah. Siege Camp picked up in the top lane there by Malthael, so that's going to get a little bit of damage out onto the wall. Not a lot. As the Siege Camps in bot lane now coming in. And we see here Zirconium League is going to be able to pick up the aggressive camp as well, as Scalding Sweat Cult instead electing to go up after the altars. Probably a good call if they can get them. And it doesn't look like they're going to get both. So, can they even get the one? They do. The Odin just a little bit too late here. Malthael and the disengage from Gust. So, they succeed at getting the one. Are these Sapper camps going to take it out? I believe so. They don't, however, stick around. So, there's no additional points. So, 5-3 now. Massive Shove going out. And there's the Entomb hitting just about everybody. But Leoric going to pay for it with his life. A Weather Vane getting very low on the Tychus. Ring of Frost coming out is going to chill him, but not going to be able to land the root. Carrion Swarm, as Mal'Ganis did finally make it back in after that massive shove, but ultimately it's going to be another 3 points going over to Scalding Sweat Cult. And now our score 29-28. Almost can't be closer. Almost. But I like what I'm seeing. I told the teams I wanted this to be a 1-0 game. And Mal'Ganis going, it is going to get shoved into the wall. Does he make it out the leap of faith just in time? What a shove. That was a massive shove. But the big save coming in from Anduin, keeping Mal'Ganis alive. What a play. Point, counterpoint. Warp Rift's down to obliterate the wave, and that makes it very difficult, just as difficult as it was to get the tower. It makes it difficult to get it back, especially when the opposing team has such significant wave clear in the Probius there. Mal'Ganis going in, looking for the Falstad, gets him down already to half health. And the blind coming out, making sure that Tychus can't get any cheeky damage there. Falstad having to use that barrel roll to get out of the Warp Rift, as one shot from that probably would have been enough to finish him off. Although Stukov popping his pustules there to make sure that Falstad's able to get back up. Double altar coming in, and we see they're calling for the fort. They want to be able to get this before the altars, but it might be a bad call here, as Broomboy falling very low. The disengage gust almost saves Johanna, just another moment. But that last grenade from Tychus able to finish the job. And this should be 10 points going over to Zirconium League. Tychus able to use that Odin there to keep the rest of Scalding Sweat Cult back. Checking those bushes. Making sure that nobody's there here. Stukov getting the stun coming from Mal'Ganis. But still, not quite able to get that fort down. Johanna going in, accepting that they're going to take some damage from this tower, and they do get it down. The siege camp being picked up, however, by Zirconium League is going to make its way in, but they should be able to clear that relatively easily, even before the fort comes up. Malthael and Leoric continuing to offer their double soaking services here so that we have the best show possible. 2 ships passing in the night, as Probius rotating in to try to help a little bit there, as some of that XP was potentially lost. There's Blush's Shield looking for the Anduin. Control all deleted, gone. Mal'Ganis using the sleep to get out there, and Nullgate used as well. And that is a great start for Scalding Sweat Cult. Can they make anything happen with it, though? Getting a kill doesn't provide you anything if all you get is the kill and then you have to dance around. There are no siege camps up. The only thing on the map is the boss, so they need to find some structure damage or some additional soak or an isolated maybe solo laner, which is very difficult to do against a Leoric who can just unstoppable Wraith walk away. But here we go. Triple altar phase. If Scalding Sweat Cult can get all 3 of these, we'll be back within a single point. That's very difficult to do, right? Nice kill, Viper, says Ektar. Indeed. There goes the Blessed Shield into the backline. The silence coming out onto Probius, and Probius is going to fall. Here comes the Odin, as the solo laners up in the top are going to get the channel up in the top lane here. Deadon coming in. Johanna not going to be stopped, as Carrion Swarm coming out is going to get some damage onto the team, but there's the Mighty Gust. Probably unnecessary, but Malthael's already here, and you can see Leoric leaving now. He recognizes that this is done. Can they get the kill onto Tychus with the last rites and add a counter to that stack right there? You'd like to see some more stacks probably, but it just kind of depends on, you know, how the game's going. Would it have been better to take, say, Bribe? Maybe. Who knows, right? Or his auto attack. But it's still a lot of burst damage, and you know the team is realistically, I mean, it's not going to be easy for Falstad to stack onto this team. His only real target is the Mal'Ganis. All right, so following Malthael up, continuing on with the double soak, but that's going to give Leoric now the opportunity to come down here. Nullgate coming out, full 4-man running away. They're trying to split up a little bit here, and they do. Leoric not able to find the entomb that he was looking for. 21-14 on the score now. It's just a single altar in the bot on this next round. Our solo laners are back in the mid, but there is a bit of a fight here, both over our solo laners and down here, so we'll watch this one. Dead on with the light bomb, gonna hit 3. Broomboy in the backline trying to stall things out, but it's actually Mal'Ganis who's gonna take out the Jaina, and that looks like that's the end of that fight. Let's see if there's anything still going on with these two here. Is Malthael gonna continue to harass the Leoric? It doesn't look like it. Looks like they're really just clearing the lane. Mal'Ganis here falling very low, 40 armor penalty from the tower, and Scalding Sweat Cult does not want to lose this tower. This would be devastating for them, especially right now. But Malthael coming in with the last rites, gonna secure the kill onto the Mal'Ganis. A leap of faith, just not enough to prevent that one from happening. Chastise coming out, but you know what? Malthael has his own self-cleanse, and Broomboy coming back in, even with the Jaina dead. That's going to give them another 4 points. So 17-14 on the score, remaining a very close game. Take a look at the XP as well. 18-18. They're both extremely close to level 19. Let's take a look at our XP stats, shall we? 23,097, 23,017. Only 80 XP different between Leoric and Malthael, and that is one single minion. So there you go. Very much an even matchup between these solo laners. Our kill count 4-6. Very close. Slightly in favor of Scalding Sweat Cult, as is the XP for just a moment. As Leoric heading up to catch the last remnants of this wave. And it is going to be a double altar coming in on this next round. And what do we got? So it's going to take 4 altars for Zirconium League, 5 for Scalding Sweat Cult. If everything remains exactly as it is now, we don't get any sappers, nobody takes towers. Mal'Ganis, however, coming in, looking to see if he can't catch somebody. Misses with all of the Fell Claws, but there's the there's the unstoppable Leoric with the Entomb. Jaina's actually going to fall, even with the Mighty Gust. And Odin being used to take down the tower. And I think that, you know, this is very much now in favor of Zirconium League. They should be able to pick up this siege camp as well. But with Leoric in the mid, this can be contested, and they are going to. There's the stun. Silence onto Tychus. Tychus is going to fall to the last rites. We got Malthael trying to get out with the Unstoppable. He's not going to make it. Sleep coming in onto Johanna, but she's going to use her Unstoppable now. Probius heading back to channel the objective. And keep in mind, oh, Leoric just getting shoved into the death zone. So ultimately a 2-for-nothing trade in that fight. Unless that was... No, Malthael died. 2-for-1, but he came back. Probius going to get the stall. Mal'Ganis putting the backline into sleep. To sleep. Sorry, Falstad the stall onto Probius. And Shadonis trying to drain his way back into this game as quickly as possible. He does have Buried Alive now, so a big silence onto the enemy team. And we've seen how many times a silence and tomb finish a massive team fight and ultimately win a game. It's going to be 5-on-4 now as Tychus not quite back into the game. The aggressive siege camp picked up this time by Scalding Sweat Cult. They're going to leave that to kind of hang out, probably die on its way by the heroes there, and head on to their own. Johanna going to try to clear up some damage onto this, maybe even kill out the minion wave here. But with these sappers coming in, this should be able to be a tower that they can pick right back up. And they need to. They're down 5 points. They don't want to be in a position where only 2 altars loses them the game. They're back to 3, and they need 4 to win. So they're only 1 behind. Or 1 less end boss. And right now, Leoric working on the top fort. I guess it's a keep now. So that'd give him an extra point here. There's the Blessed Shield going out, gets the stun onto Mal'Ganis and Anduin. But the Null Gate gonna prevent any further pressure here. Malthael coming in as well. So I think, you know, they may try their own bush gank here. Leoric is not quite able to get the top fort. Malthael showing in the mid lane. Let's take a look at our vision here. So we can't see anybody for the blue team. Red team sees him coming in, and there's no lockdown. So Mal'Ganis just going to get pushed away there. But this is a 5-on-5, and again, Leoric has the Buried Alive. And look at this right here. Oh, that was so close. There's the Silence and Tomb, the massive shove, along with the Wind Tunnel, but Malthael getting completely destroyed. We got Mal'Ganis coming in with the sleep, looking for somebody. Can he get anybody? Not quite, but he's going to get the Fell Claws out onto Jaina. And that's going to be the end of that one, as Probius once again channeling in the back. The score now 14-5. Still a 2 altar requirement for Zirconium League, unless they head to the boss. And that's exactly where they're going. And let's see what happens here. We've got the rest of the team coming in. They know. Scalding Sweat Cult knows. And we saw a couple of boss plays that did not go well in game number 1. Zirconium League recognizing that and saying, you know what? Okay, fine. This is an opportunity now, though, for Scalding Sweat Cult. They're going to get on it, and that's going to give the bottom fort over to Zirconium League. And we saw how difficult it was for Scalding Sweat Cult to pick this up earlier. But you know what? This boss play is important. That means it's that much harder for Zirconium League to end the game. And it puts them a little bit closer themselves. Double altar phase, so it is enough. Even when they get this back, this is enough that Zirconium League could end the game with 2 altars. But right now, they can end it with 1. As long as they can hold on to this bottom fort. And with 6 sappers coming in, there are enough points right here to end the game in favor of Zirconium League if they can make it happen. Keep in mind, there's a Carrion Swarm upgrade too. There's the Entomb coming out. Light Bomb gonna get the Mighty Gust Wind Tunnel, pushing everybody back. Carrion Swarm, the only ultimate left available here for Zirconium League. But somebody's going to have to start picking up altars. And we see here Malthael heading up. He's got no one... I'm sorry, he's got On a Pale Horse. Jaina's got to stay behind to finish off these minions because, again, the 3 of those would end the game. Now, this altar also ends the game. So there's 3 points. Malthael picks it up. Can Falstad stall it out? Does, but it's going to be at the cost of his life. And this is it. So not quite able to get the Leoric there with the last rites. But they're coming back in here. Malthael looking, could possibly get the Tychus. Instead is going to fall. Tychus may as well, but the big Buried Alive onto 3. Broomboy able to make it through, but it's not going to matter. That's a 5-man team wipe coming out from Zirconium League, and that's going to be the end of game number 3 in favor of Zirconium League. Another nail-biting game between Zirconium League and Scalding Sweat Cult. Absolutely fantastic play from both teams. And if this is how the series are going to be the rest of the season, this is going to be an amazing, amazing division. Let's see if we can get an interview from somebody from Zirconium League. And let's see, did I get the points upgraded?
Hello.
Hello and welcome. We've got Shadonis joining us here from Zirconium League. All right, so I know how I'm feeling after the game, but it's not about me. How are you feeling after that game?
Pretty stressed. I did a lot of scouting, and just by looking at their Storm Leagues, I wasn't really expecting this level of play, but they proved that they're not pushovers.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what? I gotta say that this was a fantastic match to cast. It was very back and forth. You guys were pretty evenly matched, it felt. You know, so definitely some highlight moments in this set. Make sure you go back and watch that, clip them, send them in for Nexus Edge, all that stuff. But let's talk about some of these games. So we start off game number 1, Braxis Holdout, which was your selection, right? Mm-hmm. And we see a Probius, right? A low a Probius in the wild, and you know, if I had the old Looney Tunes, you know, nature music, I would play it here, but I don't. But it would be fitting. So setting this up, like when you guys were preparing for tonight, obviously you have a history with the Probius. What was your expectation of Probius for this season?
Well, we were honestly expecting a lot of bans from it. But like we weren't expecting it to come through very often. We were expecting it to have a similar control of the bans as it had last season. And yeah, when it got through, we expected it to be a serious force to be reckoned with.
Sure. And in that game, it felt like, and I mentioned this in the stream, it felt like, honestly, the first time I think in any of the games that I've cast of you guys, where Probius didn't feel like he was the hard carry. It felt very much like it was the ETC and the Leoric in that match. Obviously, the net result didn't go in your guys' favor on that game, but it very much could have if things were just slightly different, right? What are your thoughts on the prevalence of Zool in the winner's circle for these matches as well?
That was a big mistake on my behalf. Game 1, I wasn't overly afraid of him. I figured that I could beat him out for the objective. I wasn't thinking on the grand scheme of things, and so I was just like, okay, they picked Zool, I'm just gonna pick Leo, I'm gonna bully him off the point and clear up his skeletons, and it's not gonna be a big deal. I was forgetting A, the skeletons explode and hurt when they explode, and B, the fact that he's able to just completely negate any of the passive pushes that would have just passively won us the game in the later stages of that game. And so that was on me, hardcore.
But then in game 2, you actually pick him up and play him yourself. Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts on how that, how do you feel that Zool contributed to your victory in that map, of course, being BOE? And, do you think that was a significant factor, or do you feel like you probably could have put somebody else in that spot and been just as fine? What do you think?
We probably could have put someone else in there. Zool definitely made the job easier and faster, because we were able to, I don't know if you saw it, but there were a number of times that I just went in W to wave and then walked away to just deal with a camp type thing. Additionally, he's one of the only bruisers, aside from like Thrall, who has any semblance of poking, and I had a hard time dealing with the bruiser camp with the poke that I had that one time in top lane. I'm not sure another bruiser would have been able to clear it, and that might have been a fort. I don't know if that would have changed the course of the game, but it definitely would have made things more difficult.
Sure. And play of the game in that one has to be the bush gank. Now, when you
100%.
guys were 100%, when you guys are setting that up, I thought for sure that Rhaegar was just inside of ETC's vision. Apparently not. Was there any concern that they had had scouted you guys out, or that, I guess not scouted you out because they didn't actively look for you, but was there any concern that maybe Rhaegar had given the whole plan away?
No, the comms were literally just, we have no reason to let them know where we are on the map, and then we were like, why don't we be somewhere where we can pick them off potentially? And then we saw an ETC followed shortly behind by a bunch of his teammates, and we were just like, oh cool, free team wipe.
Fair
And
enough.
so we took the team wipe. We didn't actually even notice the fact that Rhaegar might have been revealed.
When you go back and watch that, it is super close. Like, the only other time that I've seen on a stream a hero go out of vision, like just barely before the other team gets there, and it ultimately leads to a team wipe, coincidentally was against my team. It was a Muradin. Stormbolt wiped our team, and we lost the game and couldn't go to the playoffs because of it. So there you go. You're now in that level of play that annoyed me when I had to be the recipient of it, but it was a good play. Make sure you clip that one.
Will do.
And right before that, so you guys had your core push. You had a very strong immortal. You kill the keep. You move in. You had 2 heroes get caught by the core defense. So what are your thoughts on these new core defense mechanics? Do you like them? Do you hate them? And how much of an oops was that? Was that something where like the team was thinking, hey, we're good, and then it was just a oops, my bad? Or like, was there any coordination there? Like, you hung out for a little bit after that to kind of like, I don't know if we can do this, and left the core with 18%. What are your thoughts on that moment?
I didn't hear anyone call that they were caught by it, so I don't know exactly what happened. But regarding the new towers and new core, I have times where I love it, and I have times where I hate it, both when I'm the beneficiary and harmful of it. Most of the time that I hate it, it's stuff like Leoric, where I desperately need to heal off of the enemy person, and they just dip in slightly, and then I take 2 tower shots, and now I'm down armor. Times where I love it is times where I'm able to abuse it to keep these shots off of something that's dealing more damage than I can. It's rare and far between that I can do that, but yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. I'm sure I'll get used to them eventually.
Sure. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. It was definitely Muradin and somebody else that was on the core there. They ended up getting rooted, and then immediately after that, ETC gets a slide in, and then they die from the damage from that. So that's just what happened, just to let you know. And then you guys go to game 3. So Towers of Doom was your pick, and it was the first game of the series that the map pick won, being the first pick, the other 2. And apparently I left showing that you had played Zool when I did the pop-up, so whoops, my bad. I had mentioned that I fully expected Zool to be banned out and was not surprised when it was. So this was a pretty close game again. Ultimately, it was 10-0, but very close throughout the point. It was often within 1 altar. What would you say that your keys to victory in this third and final game, what carried you through?
So I felt confident after game 1 that I could beat the enemy solo laner, and they didn't pick a double soaker right away. I actually wanted to ban out Malthael, but my team overruled me there. And I did ultimately do some shenanigans to try and get ahead on the soak, which seemed to work for the most part. But yeah, basically that was the big key that we were focused on, was the double soak. I also, after seeing it, I knew that I could push a lot harder than him if I needed to, which I'm sure you saw I did on a number of occasions. And I knew I could bring Entomb to a team fight with a Probius.
Which worked really well in a couple of instances, yeah.
Yeah, so our keys were essentially probe for camps and blow up, myself for double soak and setup, and just the Mal'Ganis Anduin is disgustingly effective at locking down a group of enemies, not just a single enemy, which Probius is really good at observing and utilizing, for lack of a better term.
Sure. You know, there was one moment in that series. There were many moments in that match, in that series. There was one in that third game though that was really exciting, and it's just a minor thing. Just Stukov massive shoving Mal'Ganis straight into the wall, and then Anduin coming in and saying, "Nope, not today." Like, it was such a simple thing, but it was just a denial, right? And then everybody makes it out, both sides, everybody lives. But it really was telling of, you know, how this series went. I'm not going to ask you my normal last question because I think we hit on about a half a dozen of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and go right in. If there is anything else you want to mention before we go to shoutouts, by all means. But otherwise, the floor is yours.
So, shout out to both wonderful teams. This was a fantastic series. A really helpful learning experience, honestly, for us. Definitely for me, too. I learned quite a lot of offlaner mechanics just playing that one match against a solo laner I was evenly matched up against. It's very difficult to find someone who doesn't just dominate you or doesn't just die to you. Shout out to my friends and family who have joined pretty much every one of my matches. And bow before kill the Zud.
Fair enough. That was Kroga, the solo laner, for Scalding Sweat Cult there. And shoot, there was something else I was going to mention based off what you said earlier, but now I can't remember what it was, so I guess clearly unimportant.
Yep.
But either way, congratulations on your victory. I don't think I said that earlier. Really appreciate the opportunity to cast. It was a perfect time for me to do so. And don't forget to report your match, and good luck in the rest of the season.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your casts.
Thank you. All right, everybody, and that's going to wrap us up for the evening. There are some other games currently going on over at Murda's stream, so I'm going to send you guys over there. There are a couple of matches later tonight, so make sure you check out the website for those. Looks like there's one at 10:30 or 11:30 Eastern time. Currently chasing Samuro versus Can't Counterpick Stupid, and then also Zombie Eradication Squad versus Bronze 6. So the CCS Civil War there is on MaestroCasts, twitch.tv/MaestroCast. That's King Andrew casting that one. And then Eradication Squad versus Bronze 6 is our good friend Moist Tweenus, and that's a Division B West matchup. The other one is, I believe, a C West. Yeah. So there you go, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.